Fire sale! Fire sale! Fire! Fire! Oh!
Hold up, I know how this looks, I know how this sounds, but bear with me. I'm gonna do my best in convincing you that Pucca is criminally underrated as an animated series. Also plugging my Insta. Cement your love for my channel by immortalizing it in physical form. Go to alphaj.show/merch and pick out your favorite design in either hoodie or shirt form in whichever color is available. The designs are great, and plus, with the support we're getting really close to unlocking some more risky merch options. So if you want to know about Pucca, if you've never heard of it before or if you've heard about it in passing, it's a Korean animated series about Pucca, a young girl who is quote in love, more like obsessed, with a ninja named Garu. You may have seen this show on the Jetix Disney XD block within the United States around 2006 to 2008. Most episodes revolve around Garu's strong but silent commitment to becoming a ninja and earning the honor of his community through his various achievements within the show. However, through these adventures, we see an unrelenting, almost godlike persistence and energy come from Pucca. She can be just as fast, if not faster. She can be just as strong, if not stronger. She can be just as resilient, if not more resilient than Garu. I wouldn't be surprised if her name actually translated into goddess. So today, on Valentine's Day, let's explore this show. You've probably already seen plenty of clips this far into the video, and I know what you're thinking. Why do these characters look like a nightmare love child of those Pop Tropica characters and a me? The company behind Pucca is Voo's character system, and I could not find much about them in English beyond the fact that Pucca started out as an online animated e-card service that gained so much popularity that Jetix, specifically Jetix Europe, acquired the rights to do something animated with them. That explains why each character fundamentally looks the same, like a Bitmoji or whatever Reddit is doing with avatars. This also appears to be flash animated, which explains why certain aspects of the show are either hidden or cut too rapidly to make up for the simplistic way that they chose to animate the show. And while most people would probably look at this and decide based off of the perceived cheapness of the show that there isn't much value in it, I prepared this video to convince you of the opposite, because I think this show is great. The episodes of Pucca are done in 3 6 to 8 minute chunks, so I figure why not explore all 3 of the first episode for this Valentine's Day special. The first episode, Fun Eruption of Love, starts in the middle of a mooncake mountain taming festival. Yes, mountain taming within this small community. They create a symbolic mountain of mooncakes in order to tame a volcano that can destroy the community. However, to top things off, they'd need a silver moon topper, in which that's where everything goes wrong. The restaurant is run by these 3 uncles, Uncle Dumpling, Uncle Linguini, and Uncle Ho. I'll leave it to you guys to speculate on which one is which. Dada, the dum-dum, drops the topper, and when looked at to go on a long journey to replace it, pees his pants. And by the way, that's something he does quite often in this series, and I don't know why, and it doesn't really help my claim in this being underrated, but in my defense, many characters have weird habits. Like earlier in this episode, another character, Abyo, rips his shirt off, and he does that in many episodes. I will prove it to you by pointing it out. But what I found to be fun within this episode is how quick everything is to a comical degree. They have to set up the mooncake mountain quickly. They have to set up the topper falling and breaking quickly. And it's all because they have about 6 minutes to tell a story, which doesn't leave much room for filler. So where Dada chickens out, Garu steps onto the plate and takes a shot for his village.
The great Garu will save us all. This trip shall bring you great honor.
So let's talk about one-way dynamics. They walk a line between being funny and flat out uncomfortable. Tootie and Timmy, I think it's funny because Timmy doesn't hate Tootie, he's just not interested in her the way that he is with Trixie, at the moment anyway. So it works because they don't go too far with it, and they keep it all within good fun. Chowder and Panini, again, I think that's funny because, again, Chowder doesn't hate Panini, he's just not into romance the way that he's into cooking and eating. Plus, everything is in good fun. Pucca and Garu are the same way, where Garu doesn't hate Pucca, he just wants to focus on earning the honor and respect of his community, and again, it's all in good fun. Oh, and Pucca is actually an amazing character. So you have this ninja who's practiced seemingly since birth, and even though he's 12 so far, he has the skill, power, determination, and again, skill, because he's very serious about his craft. Then you have this young girl who you think she doesn't care about violence, she probably loves dolls and being protected. No, she's a god. And I don't mean in the to be worshipped kind of way, but more so in the way that she's an omnipresent, all-powerful, all-knowing force who just so happens to have the mind of an 11-year-old around her first crush. That's an awesome premise, and they make it work because it's not like she uses her powers to make everyone else's lives worse. In fact, from what I watch, she's very well liked, even by Garu, just not romantically. That's actually really funny. Am I embellishing a little bit when I call her a god? Maybe. But there are multiple episodes where she comes out the victor, and it doesn't appear as if she's using more than 5% of her energy, if that. This episode is written to make us believe that Garu actually trains for this. But Pucca is naturally that way, which creates this feeling that Pucca is unnaturally talented and uncontested, and just really isn't aware of it, or if she is, she uses this to live a normal life. They go up to the volcano to see a shopping center, just chilling, just relaxing again inside of a volcano. And of course, as the volcano gets closer to erupting, the tension increases as Garu has to rush to the far side of the store in order to grab the silver topper. Again, Garu looks like it takes a lot of focus and energy to do what he does. And there you see Pucca doing the exact same thing effortlessly, and that contrast is what makes the show work, and it makes the dynamic work. This isn't to say that Pucca gets what she wants all the time. It's a fun back and forth energy that creates a bond with the viewer between the adventures that revolve around Pucca and Garu. He gets the topper there in time but slips on the puddle, which causes it to go into Dada's hands, who like a dum-dum drops it again, making all of that effort go into waste. It seems like the volcano is going to erupt, washing away the village in an envy-garnished magma vengeance, but then this happens.
100 years of tradition to stop that?
I suppose we don't need the Mooncake Mountain Taming Festival anymore.
And just like that, a tradition is washed away due to the collective citizens' fear never coming to light. A very simple story, straightforward, and it shows you what you should be looking forward to when it comes to Pucca. We then get to the second of the 3 segments, Noodle Round the World, or Around the World as some sources put it. It's literally about cooking and taking a noodle around the world in a record-breaking way. That's the entire episode. Simple in concept, but fun in execution nonetheless. We get to see the entire town come together in support of the Garu restaurant, but not everyone.
If Garu does not return with the noodle, his shame will be overwhelming. And whoever brings the noodle home will be a hero. That's going to be me.
You messed up, kid. You now have the ire of an all-powerful god on your back, and you don't even know it. If she wanted to, if she so wished, she can give you a separate beatdown in every part of the world, in every single continent, including Antarctica. With Abyo tearing off his shirt again, Garu is off to the races, running at the fastest speed to take this noodle all around the world and back to the village. Do they take shortcuts within animating this? Yes, I'd even say so, but for me, it's difficult to have the mindset that everything has to be animated to a Spider-Verse, Avatar, Rise of the TMNT guarantee level of quality and standard, and then also be a YouTuber. Like, I'm well aware that I'm not making Hollywood movies, but what I'm offering is a really good execution of an idea, a review of something animated that looks better than most people that try this. And that's really all I can ask for when it comes to other things that are animated. Provided that the idea is good and the execution is good, why should I shun or trash or even limit my praise of it due to the animation quality? I know the reputations that reviewers within this community get for being snobby, but I really do hope that I don't give you guys that impression. If it's good, then it's good. If it's entertaining, then it's entertaining. It's like criticizing Flappy Bird for not having the same type of entertainment that I would go into if I were playing Grand Theft Auto 5. If you were looking for something that had a great, grand story and grand animation that we would be talking about for 10 years, you wouldn't have even looked at Pucca. You wouldn't have even picked it up in the first place. If we can like Animal Crossing or My Sims or Wii Sports, then why can't we also enjoy the uniform character design in Pucca? I'm not saying that you can't criticize the way that it looks or the way that it's animated, or even not like it or not be into it because of the way that it looks or that it's animated, but at least put it into perspective. It's a fun, casual, goofy 7 minutes of your time that doesn't take itself seriously and just wants you to laugh and be engaged within its simple but to the point storytelling and character development. Literally everything that this is doing is what I wanted Teen Titans Go to do. Obviously minus the DC universe and thus Teen Titans references. The main villain of this short, Toby, attempts his first ambush on an unassuming Garu, who is deep in focus. Little does he know, Pucca will not stop at any cost to protect Garu. That was a snowflake, and it turns into that. She doesn't even stop there. With ice breath, it pushes them far down the mountain, defeated, at least for now. So we get to my favorite part of the episode. After pushing through the snowy mountains, they are now in Italy, apparently using the Leaning Tower of Pisa to crush and essentially kill Garu. Dark. When Garu comes in blazing at high speeds, the opposite of my internet nowadays, despite Pucca herself being under the tower and thus crushed as well, she connects the impending doom to Garu and thus protects Garu, not even aware about her own danger, with a single punch. Yes, a punch. Not a push, or a struggle, or to combine help the multiple people, a tap, a love tap. Pucca essentially tapped this tower with the same power as you reluctantly tapping the underpaid Walmart associate on the shoulder to show you where the diaper aisle is for your second born. And that power alone not only stops the tower from falling on Garu, but it also falls on Toby and his henchmen instead. And it doesn't even stop there. When she taps the tower again and it stands up straight, one of the henchmen is now seen without a body. Like, I don't even know how to explain this any clearer.
Hey, the tower, she be straight. She is a ruin.
I mean, could everyone just be this powerful? Probably. But here's their next plan. And if you're standing, you might want to sit down. If you're gaming, relaxing, washing dishes, suplexing a teddy bear, stop all of that to critically think about this next plan. They're in France. You know this because Eiffel Tower. Their plan is to place rockets on the ground, not disguised or camouflage, but out in the open, in the hopes that Garu would run into them and be launched into space. Hey, I didn't say that Toby was smart. To me, I get these Looney Tunes, Wily, Roadrunner sort of vibes and satisfaction from this. You have to set up the setup as a whole in the plan, and Pucca exploits it through her passionate concern for Garu's safety. Now you may ask, why don't I seem to have a problem with the fact that Toby doesn't seem to click that Pucca is behind the reason why he's failing? Well, he doesn't really seem to know that Pucca is even there in the first place. A lot of what she's done has been behind the scenes. First, it was mountains away, then the view of Pucca would have been obstructed by the Leaning Tower, and here, she's within the bushes. If it makes sense within the story, again, that's really all I can ask for. Again, same song, same dance when Garu reaches the Americas, Mount Rushmore. They try to stop Garu, but Pucca successfully stops Toby and his henchmen again with just her hands. She'd not only defeat Toby once again, but carve the mountain with her bare hands. Like, there's honestly no way I can put into words how awesome Pucca is without just showing you. Oh, and speaking of Toby's awareness of Pucca's actions, he finally gets to confront Garu, who takes out all of his henchmen quite quickly, leading things into a one-on-one encounter.
Your girlfriend betrays you. What? You'll pay for this, Garu. I'll be back.
The biggest selling point about Pucca, the show, is Pucca, but the second biggest selling point, in my opinion, is this atmosphere. It's cartoonishly fueled off of being wacky, high energy, and in your face about the way that it presents stories. What makes it work best is when the unexpected happens, and that's why I found the snake being there to be funny. With Pucca saving the day, Garu reaches the village once more, completing his mission before being dragged all the way around the world again, in reverse, because Pucca eats the noodle, and an absolute unit Pucca bounces her way into Garu's heart. Again, a fun story, fun combat, a fun episode overall. Now we get to the grand finale, and my favorite of the 3 episodes, Ping Pong Pucca. It revolves around this ping pong tournament that this guy in the crowd is undefeated in. Garu and Abyo enter the tournament, and before you ask, yes, Abyo does rip his shirt off. While everyone seems to have some bursts of high energy, the team of Abyo and Garu can't be beaten. Despite the fact that this episode takes place on this hill for practically the entire episode, they make it fun by making the concept of ping pong be so cartoonishly over the top that you can't help but enjoy and anticipate what comes next. This is probably the best time to really center in on Abyo, given that I've mentioned his name in all 3 shorts but never really had the opportunity to speak about him. He is the best friend of Garu, who is hot-tempered and quite competitive, to the point where Garu isn't even safe from being constantly one-upped. He has a similar dynamic to Garu and Pucca with another character, Ching, who has a crush on Abyo, but he doesn't seem to notice. It's in this episode where the frequent use of action lines, the unapologetic reliance on motion blur, and the impressive 2.5D structure comes to its height with respect to all 3 episodes. It has the simplest premise of them all, and one backdrop to really work with, and they definitely stretch it for as long as it can work, giving different angles, different shots, and making things run smoothly without feeling stale. I also love the subtle touch over the course of the first 2 to 3 minutes. More and more people wear this sundress of shame, showing that even the audience couldn't step up to the plate of Abyo and Garu.
Are you not entertained? Is there no one who can stop us?
Trust me, you won't like the answer.
Toby steps to the plate, challenging Abyo and Garu with one of his henchmen, and that one henchman will be important in a second. Now, I cannot stress that I am not exaggerating when I say this. Abyo jumps onto the ping pong table and declares Toby is going down. Little does he know that Toby and Garu have a deep-rooted rivalry, which takes front seat within this ping pong battle. Now again, I cannot emphasize enough that I am not embellishing, I am not saying things that aren't true. Abyo, who is on the sidelines with one of Toby's henchmen, suicide dives into the ping pong ball. What? Like, Garu had 0 issues battling Toby on his own, and Abyo, for no reason, dives into it like a mad lad. I don't know if that's impressively stupid, on model and accurate to my comedy, or ineffable. So I'm just gonna assume it's all 3.
Pucca, only you can save Garu and all of Suga Village from this tragic fate. I can train you to win, but it will take much dedication.
You know, at first I was confused and I thought that the episode was trying to brute force Pucca's involvement within the episode by picking her out of the crowd, but after my 3rd rewatch, it's clear as day why you would pick Pucca besides the fact that she's a goddess. Everyone else in the crowd has lost to Abyo and Garu, which means that they probably wouldn't be the best pick. Pucca is the only one who hasn't competed yet. Even Ching has competed and apparently lost. So while subtle, I can say, regrettably, that I was stumped by Pucca's storytelling. And I'm sure many of you will think that I'm making it up for the video's sake, and I promise you, I'm not. I do find the aspect of training to be laughable, given that she's an all-powerful, all-knowing god.
One, two, three, 8, 9, 10. You can only have one teammate, Toby! You're disqualified!
Now, I am not saying that I encourage people to break the rules. I run a Discord server. I know how annoying it could be when people break the rules. In fact, I'm not even saying that Toby shouldn't be called out. I'm saying that I understand why he needs to do this. Pucca, again, is a goddess. In fact, his efforts are perilous, but this may increase his chances by a quarter of a percent. I love the sequence of him being so offended, he goes up to the guy, argues with him, the tower bends back and forth, and once he comes back down, the other guy is tied up, and it looks like Toby has hijacked the entire tournament. While this rightfully scares Garu, Pucca steps up to the plate, not only holds her own, but destroys the henchmen in the process, making their efforts noted, but worthless ultimately. And this leads to this guy, Muji, the guy I mentioned earlier in this part of the review, teaming with Toby to make a pretty solid team. I love this sequence here as well. Garu having to travel a long distance using different modes of transportation in order to whack the ball back. Coming back in a meteoric fashion, the team of Toby and Muji can't retaliate, causing Pucca and Garu to be the winner here. However, not to be down and out, Muji uses a steel ball to knock Garu, which again, like I said earlier in this episode, you've done messed up. Pucca, grabbing the entire table, whacks these guys like flies, knocking them off the mountain to their assumed death. Rule number 1, you do not mess with Pucca, but more importantly, rule number 2, you do not mess with who Pucca loves, Garu. Nonetheless, it's a nice way to end things. They're announced the winners of the tournament, and Garu begrudgingly shares the victory with Pucca. This is my favorite because I think Pucca is the best here. As far as performance, I love the action. I think it's the funniest of the three, but all three are fantastic, honestly. As long as you don't go into it expecting a multi-layered arc with social commentary and a darker second season, it's likely that you'll have a good time watching Pucca. The first 2 seasons appear to be free on YouTube under the official Pucca channel. Until then, happy Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for your time. Take care. Alpha out.